live now. Not right to. To anybody watching at home, we just got some technical difficulties, which have nothing to do with Owen Farr not even being present right now.
Owen's coming. Yeah. He's far.
Far, do you reckon he's as far as Ray, or?
He's Ray far. Other fars are available. Just a chair in shot there. Thank you, Hilda. just cover my shot there. Thank you.
So used to this, Chris. How does this feel? Does it feel different to normal being live?
Yeah, but the thing, we don't edit our videos, so it's pretty much.
You don't edit your videos.
We edit in the sense that we cut 3 camera angles.
Do you mean we don't and Tom does?
Well, we cut 3 camera angles together, but we don't cut stuff out. We sit down for 45 minutes and release.
And just whatever happens, happens. Here he is.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Owen Farr.
In the house.
We're live. We're rolling.
He said, it's 6 o'clock for us, isn't it?
We need one of those.
2 an hour early.
Yeah.
We need one of those big on-air signs, and then a.
Oh, the red light.
Yeah.
So I think what we need to do is also acknowledge that there are people here watching. I mean, if I do that first.
All right.
That.
No.
I mean, if I do that first.
All right.
That.
No.
Okay.
You don't get this on Match of the Day.
And then you're ready. There you go. There you go.
Right.
Lush.
Please let us know in the comments if the mics are the levels, if they need to go up. And anyway, let us know if you can hear Owen.
Yeah.
And Owen, you're live in 3, 2.
Yo. Good evening, everybody. Hello, everybody. Well, firstly, I should say a warm welcome to our studio audience. Hey, studio. Lively and enthusiastic, and welcome to everybody sat at home watching live on the BBC.
Brass Band Channel.
Here we are.
Brass Band
On the
Channel.
Brass Band Channel.
We'll take it.
My name is Owen Farr. This is David Morton and Chris Robertson. We're here in Norway. Actually, I don't know where we are. Where are we in Norway?
Where are we close to?
Sheringvik? Sheringvik, is that it?
That's,
Close to Sandefjord.
Sandefjord.
you've picked up the language
Yeah.
already. You're
Ja.
fluent.
Ja.
Oh,
En
Well-
niet norsk.
we are together.
Sporsmali norsk. Tak.
Something like that. You take the microphone. We are about to kickstart a summer camp here. You probably can't see behind the camera, but there's lots and lots of people here.
There's about 100, I
and to
think.
start, about 100.
About 100.
Not in here, listed outside. It's still at the barbecue. We've just had a great barbecue to start, which is good. So to start the course, we're just going to have a quick Q&A here, where we can invite questions from you. Oh, I've got questions in my pocket that I'll host as we go through. Just while I'm doing this, Chris, this must be very unusual for you because you're usually, like the Graham Norton side of it, you're usually sat here doing this, and you are very, very good. I've got high standards, I think, to live up to here.
Kind of, yeah. Well, usually it's just me and Tom sat kind of doing our show, but
So it is Tom.
you can be Tom. Well, we just did have you on the show. For those of you who don't know, it's a podcast called That's Not Banning. I'm repping the merch right now. Got to get the plug in.
Got it in.
And the Owen Farr episode is coming soon, so check out that, those in studio and at home.
So huge apologies in advance for that. Were these in any particular order?
No,
These
do you want to start from the
Alphabetical, please.
start on the list, or?
I don't mind. We can be very relaxed. I'll do them from here first, then, and we'll answer them. And if anybody has a question at any moment, you could put your hand up if you want, or just shout out, and we'll do our very best. Sensible questions, of course, musically related. I've met some of you before. Right, so first question. If you could give one piece of advice for a mature brass player who wants to reach the next level, what would it be? We'll start with it.
I think you gave me the mic because I'm more mature.
Okay.
Is that mentally mature, or I would say actually I would take it away from playing terms. I would say that age doesn't need to be a barrier for progression. And I think sometimes, especially young people, think that if you play for the National Youth Band or if you have a teacher at a young age, then when you through that process, then you have to stop developing. I would actually be an advocate for people saying that just because your age doesn't mean you can't stop progressing, and just to keep pushing through and working hard, and you can I suppose get to anywhere you want to be.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I think something that changes the older we get, the more questions we would ask ourselves more in a negative frame of mind. So of course, if you watch a toddler learning to walk, they're absolutely fearless, and kids, we've all seen kids learning to play. Maybe most of us have been kids when we're learning to play, and kids, if they don't know, they'll have a go. But when we get a bit older, it starts to change a bit, and those questions start coming in. So to sort of coincide with what you're saying, trying to keep those negative questions away, and of course you can keep developing. Of course you can keep going. Just be more optimistic than pessimistic, I think.
I was just thinking, I teach a guy who's 82, and I've taught him for a few years. And what I would say to all people, of like the mature people, they have more time than maybe people slightly less mature in their 50s and things. But don't just buy mouthpieces and instruments, like the new stuff. Like, invest in yourself. Like, the great players aren't great because of the piece of metal they play on, whether it's the mouthpiece or the instrument or the valve caps or the whatever. Like, bling your instrument out if you want to, like, for aesthetics, but invest in your brain. Like, get in touch with somebody that is very good or at least better than you, and ask them questions about playing and ask for advice. I mean, maybe that's what that person is doing now with this, but don't just buy mouthpieces. The 16th one is not going to be better than the 15th one. Come on.
Well, do you know what, Chris? That kind of leads on to the next question that's here that I'll jump in with. It says, what is one practice habit that you think is underrated but has had the biggest impact on your own playing? And while you were talking about that, then I thought with myself, is bad practice is bad for you. Mm-hmm. And certainly when I was younger, I did everything wrong. I practiced poorly. I did a lot of practice, but I over-practiced and kept playing until my lips were giving up. So with what you're saying in mind and relating to that question, one thing I would say to that is practice sensibly and try to practice with fresh lips and not, abuse your chops. Mm. So
was it just that you were playing too much, or was it the actual things you were...
I was playing too much, but in particular, I wasn't taking any rests while I was playing either.
Okay.
So I was practicing hour after hour, because it was a bit like a vicious circle, really. Because I was playing poorly, I wanted to double my efforts and play more, but the more I played, the worse I got. So it just kept going round and round and round. But during that time, and while I was disciplined, I knew I had to practice your flexibilities and your scales, and your articulations, etc. But I just got everything ready, and just tried to plough my way through everything, hoping to get better without any rest at all. And it's the quality of your practice is way more important than the quantity of it. Mm-hmm. And you're much better off putting lots of rest as much as you play. I think it's an important say that I have all the time. And so you play a phrase and then rest, let the brain process it, keep the lips fresh, and on the next exercise, etc. But I don't know if
that's a great way of kind of a method of practice. But for me, if I was to highlight one thing to practice, I would say single tongue, because it's a often neglected thing, and we want a triple tongue and we want a double tongue and play fast, but there are very few things that we can actually quantify when we play. We don't have lap times or goals and touchdowns and things. We have music, and it's subjective, and you learn a new high note, but the next day you might not be able to play it. So I think you can put a metronome on and you can figure out that I can single tongue semiquavers at 100 beats per minute, and then 102 and 105, and make that faster. And if you have a stronger tongue, you will be a better player. And that's a broad statement, but the best players have the strongest tongues. And that is not just tongue speed for actually playing the pitches of the notes themselves by compressing the air inside your mouth. So single tongue, make it faster. It's dead easy to do. If you've never done it as well, the learning curve is the steepest at the start. So if you've never really worked on your single tongue because nobody told you to, hopefully I've just told you to.
And inevitably, the triple tongue and double tongue will benefit from it anyway. Of course. So,
yeah, I could add one thing to that. There'll be concentration, actually. I think we live in a world where it's difficult to do just one thing at a time. And I think the art of practice is literally just focusing your mind on the task in hand.
Yeah.
And I think it's becoming more and more difficult because we're getting less and less used to it. So I suppose what I'd like to say is, just put your mobile phone on silent or in a different room, and just make sure the time you sat with your instrument is dedicated to that craft, and having a goal about what you're doing, and be really dedicated to try and be consistent with what you're trying to improve.
Not to go off on a tangent here, but I do have concerns going forward relating to social media, and other platforms that are similar to that, where I certainly see my son who's 14, and he's on TikTok at fast forwarded 3 times. They talk really fast, but everything related to well, I won't mention all the social media platforms, but it's all about this quick fix and hack, isn't it? And you can do it if you're a footballer, use a quick hack to a free kick, or if you're a chef, use your quick way to hack in a lasagna or something. And with the brass playing, it is not that. It is careful, structured, systematic practice. That if you have a goal in mind, it's going to take you steps to get there. You can't go and buy a gimmick on the internet that'll attach to your instrument that's going to do it. And there's no mute or mouthpiece or anything or instrument that's going to do that for you. It is careful, intelligent, systematic practice that's going to get there. But I think that social media is creating this world where we all think there's another alternative to it, and it's just a piece of pipe, isn't it? That's all we play. So,
Sure.
Well, it's true. Some are shiny others, of course, but right. Next question. So did anybody else have anything to? Oh, they're asleep. Okay, I'll carry on. You've all got remarkable careers. Was there a specific moment when you realised that music could become your profession? Dave, do you want to start that one? I don't think there's an answer for
I
you
do
for
actually have an answer about this one, actually, and that's, I'd rather someone else started first, because it's quite.
You've got the microphone in
I
there?
do appear to have the microphone. Well, actually, I never thought it was possible to make a career out of music, and I still sort of surprise myself now, knowing that it's my only source of income, working as a conductor or as a teacher. And I sort of fell into a music degree. I was going to do economics, and then I realised that I didn't want to sit behind a computer all day long for the rest of my life. So I took a year out between college and music university, and I auditioned for Huddersfield University without having GCSE music or A-level music. So my first couple of years of music uni were pretty tough. I was like way behind.
You must have done a very good audition to get in.
I did.
Well, it's funny to say that.
Funny you should say that, yeah.
Let's talk more about our audition.
But I did literally just get into university on my plane, and I don't think that was actually a very good decision for me, because the first couple of years of university were pretty tough, trying to just catch up, and I probably didn't catch up until a few years after university, actually. Sorry, to just answer the question. I did a couple of years working as a high school teacher in Lee, in Bedford High School in the northwest of England, and then I moved to Norway in 2011. But I realised in 2012 I had a bit of an experience with music that made me realise that my own fear was actually stopping me from having a career within music. I'd never, back in 2011, I'd never played principal cornet before. I'd never actually done a stand-up solo with a band before, and I sort of made this decision to accept the next. Also trying to actually actively seek opportunities, and I took on a principal cornet seat of a band in Norway, Molde Brass Band, and probably played the hardest cornet part that's ever been written. It was a piece called Goldberg 2012, written by Svein Henrik Giske.
I remember it well.
Yeah, it's really, really, really tough. My band, we played band number 10. That was the last band on stage, and we got 96 points. Came second place in the elite division, and the composer came up to me afterwards and he said, if there was a solo prize today, you would have won it. And for maybe that's probably it. It's probably a moment in most people's careers where you'd think, okay, this was an achievement. I put a lot of work in. I did myself justice with my performance on stage. But for me personally, it was more, okay, I can park all that fear. And because I found my part incredibly difficult, and I actually thought I would never be able to get through it. But after that experience, I sort of, all of these barriers that I had about stuff that I perceived to be difficult, they sort of just disappeared because of my systematic approach to learning my part, and because I was prepared so well for the moment when I sat on stage. I thought, well, I've just got to do that again. I've just got to prepare for every performance like it's that.
But do you think if the composer hadn't said that, you might not be sat here now? Was it that feedback that did it, or was it your performance that did it?
That's a good question. I've never reflected about that, but I'm going to say yes, because the quality of that feedback meant so much to me.
But was staying within you when somebody sort of on the outside says it, then it becomes more real, is it?
Yeah, and I was very proud of my personal performance, but like you're saying, when someone else gives you that accreditation, it was like, okay, I might be good enough. I'm going to crack on and just keep doing this, and I suppose that's been my mantra ever since that moment. So for me, it is a one moment, okay, before that moment and after that moment.
Wow, that's fascinating. What about yourself, Chris?
Yeah, I don't know about a specific time, but for me, music was just always the thing that I found the hardest, because you're like at school, you're against people your own age and however good you are at biology versus them, and etc. But music, you play with adults, and I thought that was great. And you play with people a couple of years older. Luckily, I had people who were very good in my home school band. We had a brass band in our high school, in a small high school in a coastal town.
Is this Carnoustie?
Carnoustie High School, yeah, the likes of Ailsa Russell, who took over from Miot Corey, and Ross Knight and Joe Walters, and loads of great players that, even the ones that wouldn't necessarily be known, they were still like inspirational to me. And just wanting to kind of catch up to them, and then you get good enough to a standard when you're 17, 18 and think, okay, I'm going to find more people better than me. And it wasn't really about a career in music, it was just more about trying to just see how far I could take it. And luckily that didn't stop for quite a while, and hopefully it's not stopped yet. But the weird thing about brass bands is that once, like, you wait forever. I remember being in my early 20s waiting for a seat to come up and just hoping that somebody would leave. It was the likes of, Dave Thornton, and Gary Curtin was at Black Dyke, and Glenn Williams was at Foden's, and then went to Corey, and then Michael Dodd was at Grime. It's like just legendary players, generational players that had these seats for, like, it felt like forever, and thinking, when's my time? Or even if they do leave, is it going to be my time? And then luckily I got my time, and then joined Grimey, and then went to Brighouse not too long after, and I've been there for coming up to 8 years, which for me is crazy. Like, I've lived in England for 13 years. Like, I never expected to move to England. Like, so it's just, and then once you get, not comfortable, but once you get into a habit of life, like, this is where I live now, this is my city, this is my town, this is my band, these are my friends, and I just play the euphonium and come and do things like this, and go to teach and go to band. So yeah, you kind of fall into it, but on purpose. It's a dream, but it's
I think my story's kind of similar to that. Then now I think there wasn't a defining moment at all for me. It was always a passion for me. It was always a dream, if you like. I always wanted to become a musician, or at least have some sort of form of career in music. I definitely had to be in banding, and I always worked hard towards it. And I went to the Royal Northern. I joined Fairy's band, sat next to my hero Sandy Smith, and it all sort of went from there. And I just kept working towards it. I think bit by bit, things just little bits at a time, they picked up and came together, and then age 35, a few years ago, that's when I left Corey then to do it 100% full time. But you made me think of something there. You talk about you now living in England. Of course, it was making me think of the football. We've just had the World Cup. Just wanted to ask David how he enjoyed that.
And we could talk about Wales first if you want. Sorry.
It's not going to take long.
Glass houses.
Of course,
I think
you've got to be in it to win it, and Scotland got it and scored a fantastic goal.
A fantastic deflected goal.
That won't
it was 3:30 in the morning on the second night of my honeymoon, and John McGinn puts that. I was like, my guy. Yeah, and then we watch them suffer for 2.5 hours and then go home.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're top 38 of the tournament, something like that. But yeah, England, how about them? They beat the Norwegians. Sorry, guys.
You're sitting on the fence here, David. You look a little awkward at the moment.
I saw your kids with an England top on and a Norwegian top.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
That's because my kids have got an English father and a Norwegian mother, Chris.
They're going to have to choose.
It's a problem.
They have to choose.
I've actually my son. He had an England shirt on, and he was going "Roo!"
Right.
That's my boy. Anyway, just
Nice crossover.
to answer directly, yeah, great World Cup. Of course, it was. It's probably best not to talk about the one game. But
I can't remember which game.
But it was great to come third. It was great.
We
to get a
watched it
medal.
together, didn't we?
We did.
We did.
Which one?
I can't.
The semi. They're not thinking about the semi.
Oh, you mean the quarters?
They're thinking about the quarters, which
They
is
beat Brazil, though. You beat Brazil. Come on.
Yeah.
2-0.
That's not on your list, by the way.
Oh, battery's up. I'll move on then, shall I?
Yes, you should.
Vamos.
I assume your kids weren't wearing both tops at the same time, though, were they? He said they were both wearing.
Oh, in the quarter, yeah. What were they doing for the...
Yeah.
They alternated,
They were having one shirt on for the first half and putting the other shirt on for
All
the
right.
second half.
What about the hydration breaks? Let's not go there. Let's not go there. I should put my readers on. How do you balance technical perfection with musical expression when preparing a solo or an important performance? I'll just dive in there to start. I would see it in with your brass playing in 3 stages, which would be practice, play, and perform. And the first stage, practice, is where you are fully engaged in your technical exercises, and it's like physical study, really. So you're trying to coordinate the fingers and the tongue and correct breathing, flexibilities, high notes, all the boring technical stuff. That is the first stage. And you must practice that carefully so it works for you by habit without thinking about it. So when you get to the last stage, you don't think about it. The second stage then is what I call play, which is like band rehearsals or playing with a piano or something where some people might be watching, but it's not really a performance, but is another level to it. And that level, that's like in a band rehearsal where you are preparing for your musical performance and you are now more engaged in musical exploration. You're working with a conductor, sharing different musical ideas, but still falling back on your practice. The latter stage performance is when none of that comes into it. When to quote the great Arnold Jacobs, who wrote a book, he wrote a book called Song and Wind, which means when it comes to the musical performance, song becomes the music and wind becomes breathing. The only technical thing you might think about is to take a nice deep breath, and then it's all about musical creativity and musical interpretation. So that's what I see that is you're not trying to cross it over too much at the same. So when you go on stage, you shouldn't be thinking about whatever your tongue's doing or your fingers doing or especially your lips and things like that. Your practice should have got that in place for you so it works by habit. So when you come to make music, that's all you're focused about then is the music you're playing and what else is going on around you. Things like intonation. If you're completely focused on worrying about your lips all the time, your ears aren't shutting down and be playing out of tune. So they are musical skills that shouldn't be confused. So I see it as 3 stages.
I was just going to say that I completely agree with that. And that's kind of a really good methodical approach. But for me, combining technical with musical, I'm just thinking about playing a slow melody in a way, because that's when you're trying to play beautiful and it sounds beautiful. And I always tell people you have to be boring to be beautiful, and that if you do not subdivide, your brain will do something that you don't expect it to, and you'll get to that minim tied to a crotchet, and you will just play it too short and you'll rush on. And weirdly, your brain is expecting that note to happen exactly on time. So when it doesn't, when you transfer that signal to your finger or your tongue to do it early, it's always early, never late. From my experience, it won't work. The note won't come out, and then you'll split it. So even if you have a minim, I call it 4 quavers. Like I live my life in quavers, subdivide everything forever and ever. You will split fewer notes. You will rush fewer things. You will play slow, think fast, all that stuff, subdivide. Richard Evans used to come up to the National Youth Brass Band of Scotland, and he said I should get a big T-shirt, and on it I should say, "I am a subdivider, are you?" And as a 16-year-old,
that's very much like
I had no idea what that meant, because he would say you have to subdivide, but it's just, I don't know if you have it in Norwegian, you say this word, but it's a word you just hear a lot of, but I never fully understood it, and it is counting whatever the meter is. If it's in 2, it's in 4. If it's in 4, it's in 8. If it's in 3, it's in 6. Double it. At least sometimes you can quadruple it and count in semiquavers if it's that slow, or if it's in 6/8 and things like that. But yeah, subdivide, count the quavers, live life in quavers, that kind of thing. That is the precision. That is boring.
I think that's fantastic. And Chris, you'll find that you'll do that automatically now.
Completely.
So when you were younger, it was probably a conscious effort all the time.
I never
and
did it.
teachers and conductors, you must do it. But in the end, you especially when the conductors come, you can help subdivide into 8ths or 16ths, wherever you are.
But conductors sometimes rush. And it kills me, because I've trained my brain to be this like almost robotic, like annoyingly, because I've taught for a few years, not as long as you guys, but the longer I taught, the more I realized that this is the common denominator mistake. Yeah. Everyone plays too fast. Everyone rushes. Yeah. So I thought, okay, I'm learning. Like, I'm not teaching here. I'm actually learning, because you did it, and you're that grade 8 did it, and you that grade 5 did it, and you that grade 1 did it. Why are you all making the same mistakes, even though you're completely different levels? And they play too fast, depending on their difficulty of piece. So now I'm constantly counting quavers. So someone will play a piece to me, and because I can't help but count, I'll just stop them and just say, you got to count. And it's boring, it's rubbish, but boring equals beautiful. Well, I think.
To add to that, then while we're doing this, I'm going to give you a different question in a minute.
Yeah. What's your favourite colour?
To add to that, some of the boring stuff, another huge benefit comes from, say you're just practicing your very, very simple flexibilities and you're subdividing. By subdividing, you are reducing the time from moving from one note to another. In other words, you'll move in time. Yeah. So if you slur from a C up to a G, there's several things that will happen. The A is going to increase. How much you can't measure it. The tongue's going to move. How much you can't measure it. The lips are also going to change. How much you can't measure it. So too much analysis can cause paralysis. But if you are subdividing, all the different things that will happen to enable us to change pitch will happen at the same time. So whilst you might think it's boring, first of all, you're creating habits because you will subdivide in your music making. And if a conductor beats faster, you will subdivide faster. A rallentando will be slower subdivisions. But physically, it has huge benefits as well. So tip of the day, subdivide. We'll have it all week. That's a great one.
Yeah, if it's endorsed by Owen Farr, you got to do it. You got to do it.
No, it's TNB.
Run it up.
Dave, I've got a question for you. If you could give one piece of advice to brass bands outside the UK on how to develop a stronger banding culture, what would it be?
Well, we did discuss this just before the show. This is the show now. And my automatic suggestion was go to the pub more. And we sort of had a little. We just laughed a little
Team
bit,
building.
didn't we? Yeah, and Owen understood what I meant straight away. Chris is a bit boring, so we didn't understand it. It's very beautiful, though.
I was practicing.
He's busy subdividing, yeah, so he didn't.
With a single tongue.
Sorry.
Not an insult. Like, come on, keep going.
So my point was to be in the pub more. It's more. I think I've got a Norwegian audience here, so people could probably agree with me. I hope at least that when we do social activities in Norway, it's often planned, and that's obviously great. And but for me, it's just a little bit planned. So I'd prefer it if it was more in a sort of an informal part of the culture where you could, you work hard, you got your band rehearsal, you do your subdivide, and you notice that the conductor's rushing a bit, and then you go and have a beer afterwards. And for me, that's a natural way to build a team where it's a more. We're talking about habits, like it's an automatic part of the process that these people that you've made music with together, you also invested in them outside of the band room. And I think that would actually really help the culture to grow in a more organic way instead of it having to be so organised all the time.
Let me stay with you then, because I just looked at this next question. Dave, is it reasonable to ask if it's okay to sit back and watch bad behaviour in the band room? When it's banter bullying, ? And are all members complicit when they don't step in to stop it?
Really good question. We talked about that one before the show as well, whether we should bring this up. I don't know if you guys heard what was talking about. There's like bullying in the band room if someone's maybe making a joke about a certain individual, and other people's maybe people laugh and join in and sort of make it okay to have a bit of fun at someone's. Yeah.
And it's funny. I mean, different cultures do things in different ways, don't they?
Absolutely. I do know this person. I know where the question came from, but I would say I would actually say that no. In every context, we have a responsibility to train at being good citizens, and I think all these in every different context, you get stuff that pops up every so often where someone says something and maybe you weren't quite prepared for it, and you sort of think, "Whoa, was that okay? How was that for the other person? Should I have said something? Should I have intervened?" But in a band room where you know the people there and you know the dynamics and you know maybe the what's like the power pyramid, what's called the hierarchy, you know the hierarchy in the band room, and you might observe someone saying something in the same way with the same tone over a period of time, and you think, well, I know that's not okay. And for me, I would say, yeah, you've always got to intervene. Of course you have. That's your duty as a citizen, as a duty as a bandsman. And it maybe it doesn't have to be directly confronting a person, but you have to do something. Because I would absolutely agree, if you don't say something, then you are actually accepting that type of behaviour. So
the dynamic in a band rehearsal is so important, isn't it? And it's a safe environment for everybody to feel they can get stuck in. We talked earlier about being optimistic, not pessimistic, and you want to have that feeling in the band room where I can have a go at this.
Absolutely.
And sometimes intimidation can.
It can really sort of put like
and
a
lower
straight
decorum,
jacket.
which is another issue, isn't it?
Yeah, big time. But I've seen conductors do this before. Something I would really advocate and something I really love. They talk about when you go in the band room, you put your scientist's jacket on, your white jacket, and your scientist's glasses, and you go and experiment together with people who are part of the same experiment. And I think that's a great level of it. It's like there's no one way of doing stuff here. We're all part of the same team. Let's develop and see if we can put something together as a unit. But to answer the question directly, yeah, always call it out.
Yeah,
absolutely, always, regardless of who it is, you got to do something. So,
absolutely.
I don't know if you want to add something.
Well, I'm conscious of time. We're chatting away, so let's try and get these a little bit quicker, shall we? I'm sure you're saving your questions. We'll come to yours soon. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given, Chris?
I think I've said this before on an interview, but choose yourself. It's a David King one that said, if you don't choose yourself, no one's going to choose you. Or they still might not, but at least you chose yourself. Give yourself, he says things like, give yourself every possible chance. So if you mess it up, absolutely fine, but decide that you're going to mess it up loud. Decide that you're going to go for your shots, and you're going to go for that diminuendo. You're going to try and come in on it pianissimo. And I know we have this kind of survival instinct, and we want to take it safe. And if I mess this up, this fortissimo entry on my own, it's going to be horrendous. But if you nail it, MP, you're still gonna be dissatisfied, and you're gonna lose and then the conductor of the band will be like, well, what happened? Like, you shrunk. And it is scary, but allow yourself to make loud mistakes and choose yourself. Like, play to the adjudicators, play to the back of the hall. Say, I'm gonna come off and be noticed. Not all the time, especially if you play bass trombone. But right, when they choose themselves. You choose yourself at the right moments, okay? Because no one wants to hear the same person the whole time. So if you've got that, if you're the euphonium player or the tenor horn player, and you get that moment, you might have one or two or three, then say, this is my time, and don't try and kill the band. And if you're a forward-facing instrument, it's those instruments, isn't it? The bass trombone and the sop, they can kill the band the whole gig, but you got to make the right choices as well. Choose not yourself, choose someone else, choose the tenor horns, but really go for your shots and choose yourself. That's kind of something I've been told and taught to do.
I just saw Andre Agassi says something very similar during the Wimbledon final about defining champions, and it's very, very similar to that. Dave?
For me, it would be just stay in the moment. Just don't over-evaluate, don't overthink. You made your plan, you've worked hard on your part, your performance, and just one note at a time. Just stay in the moment and just be really focused about what you're doing. That's probably the thing that's helped me the most as a performer. Just not trying to let the external thoughts affect you too much. Just be there in that moment. Never rushing.
Something I thought I was for me. Again, going back to my youth, a good decade or so ago, when I was younger, was to take all criticism constructively. And I think when I moved from Wales up to England, and I played for a fantastic band, Fairies, when I was quite young. Derek Jackson springs to mind straight away. All different personalities. Some people can be very, very direct, and it's very hard to take sometimes when people are speaking to you and how they're criticising you. And I learned then, or was taught then, to however someone delivers something to you, take the point they're saying because they've raised it anyway, and turn that into a positive that there might be something that you do need to address, but do it constructively. And once you take that on board, then you sat in that band rehearsal. I had all these great players around me. You can't help but listen to everybody then and see where they're coming from. So everything you hear, try and look at it from a positive, and you're constantly learning.
Sorry, Owen, do you remember back in those days of Corey and Fairies, were people, obviously they were kind of winning bands and very successful, especially Corey, were people complimenting each other? Were they praising each other? Because we don't do that a lot, I don't think. And we're kind of looking for it all the time, and I'll play some. If I make a couple of mistakes, I'll be told, not by the conductor, by the band, on the coach or something. But there is that culture of like, oh, you didn't enjoy that one, did you? Like that kind of sarcastic, which you do get used to that. You have to have thick skin to do it.
I know what you mean.
People giving you the
flowers. I remember the first time I went to America and played in a band over there. During the rehearsal, they were doing great job, man. Great job. Great. While you're playing. That's definitely not the British way of doing it, is it? But during my time at Corey, we did a lot of leg tapping and stuff when he finished a solo, and winks and all that sort of stuff. So
did that wear off though? Because it would just be every time. What happens if you didn't quite clean it? Then would it be like, oh, they still did the leg? Sometimes you're just looking for one person, or just if you play perfectly and then get nothing, or you play a couple of mistakes and get 5 people. It's so weird, isn't it, that we do that?
Can I answer that one a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I just interject? I remember playing. I had quite a big solo to play once, and I had a deal with a solo horn player that before her solo, we were just going to look at each other and we're giving each other a little bit of a wink.
Yeah.
Now, in my mind, she was winking for me.
Yeah.
And I thought she's giving me the energy I need. And it went well for her and it went well for me. And then when we came off stage, she was like, oh, I'm so happy that you gave me that wink. If you hadn't given me that wink, I don't think I'd have played. And I was like, oh, I thought that wink was for me.
That's a good...
Because you don't know what other people need, do you?
No.
And I was like quite needy, I suppose, at that moment, thinking that, okay, that's all about me. But actually, it was for both of us. So
yeah.
Maybe.
I am inspired when I go to America, and they're like that all the time. And you can split as many notes as you want. They just don't notice it. But when you play well, they're all over it. It's infectious. It's great. We should all do that more, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know why we don't.
But I've had it as well as a conductor. Sometimes I've said to a band compliments, and I'm a big fan of you compliment in terms of where you are in a process. If you're 4 weeks away from a concert or a big competition, and you're giving a band really good feedback about where they are at that moment in time, that doesn't mean that that's the version I want to take on stage. That means you've done a great job with 4 weeks left to go. Let's carry on in that trajectory because we're in a good place. And I've had it before when musicians say to me, why are you telling us when we're good? We've got loads of work to do. And I'm like, well, no, I'm telling you that I'm really proud of the process, the work you've done in so far. But obviously, I want it to continue.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, don't tell us it's good unless it's like really good. And that can be actually a bit difficult as a leader to manage that, like how much feedback should you give people and when in terms of the process. And of course, every band and every individual is very different on that level.
Yeah.
So that
might not get good.
It might never get better.
Like we do here, we'll always just try and make it better and better every week. And then the week of the contest, we're 10 feet tall because we've been told this is the best the band's ever sounded. We're going to win. And like, is it tennis players that the best tennis players ever win 51% of their points and lose 49.
Yeah.
But then they win 8 Wimbledons and 25 Grand Slams. So, you've won a lot of contests. Like, you've won a fair few. Like, we've lost way more than we've won between us. Our percentage will be so low. I've only won 3-4 contests in the top section ever.
But it doesn't change the belief, does it?
Shut up. Banding's hard now, mate.
In 50 years?
Yeah. But, yeah, you're going to lose. And, all you in your bands, you're going to lose. You're going to split notes. You have to accept that. But
how you accept them, isn't it? It's how you.
Yeah, it's like you said, it is hard to know how to gauge the energy of your band and the praise of the performance. But yeah, tricky for conductors.
I got a question. It says, Dave, have you ever played a brass instrument?
Oh, Dave, yeah. Do you play? Can you play?
I've never played that.
Do you know the valves though?
It's 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, there are 3 valves. He's good. Dave Morton, national champion. Hold for applause. We'll have to put the applause in post.
What time we do to finish?
Around about now.
Around about now. So we are about to close, but let's open it to the floor. And I'm looking at all these beautiful brass enthusiasts. Do you have any questions before we finish and move on to our first rehearsal of the course?
Sorry, headphone users.
For all those watching at home, there is an audience here, I can promise you.
Yeah, there are.
They've had a barbecue and maybe a refreshment or two, I don't know.
How can they've had it?
Are we finished? Is that everything? Okay, well, we'll say thank you very much to all of you for listening. We're looking forward to working with you all imminently. And thanks for anybody that's tuned in to watch this as well. And
Thank you.
thanks to these two guys, and we'll see you all very soon.
Bye-bye.
Very much.
Thank you.
It was supposed to be half an hour, wasn't it?
Thank you, everyone.
Oh, wasn't it? I had a half an hour in my head. I thought, oh,
Great job. Did we have some viewers?
yeah, I'll do it, won't it?
23?
Quite nice and informal.
Nice
We had 11 viewers at our peak.